What's good, ladies and gents? Welcome to the MKO Pugilism Boxing channel where we talk all things boxing. Remember to like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, put it on all so you can get notified as soon as new content drops. So it's the day after the night of I'm talking about the day of reckoning. So last night, big card in Saudi Arabia. We're just going to talk about the co-main event, which was between Deontay, the Bronze Bomber Wilder, and Joseph, Big Joe, or whatever his nickname is, Parker. And on this one, I would say that this fight was, if you know your boxing, not a big upset. But you know what? Nah, I want to call it. It is an upset because, to be honest with you, this is the fight where pretty much everybody was picking Deontay Wilder. Not many people were giving Joseph Parker a prayer, a hope of winning this fight. I can honestly say I was one of the people who sort of said, well, I'd be a fool to not give Joseph Parker a chance, but I was just sort of buying into the narrative, as did many others, that Joseph Parker will eventually be caught with a right hand, and Deontay Wilder, it's kind of almost like there's a kind of mysticism about him whereby everybody just bought into the fact that whoever fights him, unless it's Tyson Fury or whatever, no one's going to be able to take this right hand, and he's going to knock you out if your name's not Tyson Fury or whatever. And he's the most dangerous, and etc etc, and he is very dangerous, and he does carry fight ending power in that right hand. But I think there's a lot of there's this big narrative around him that you know basically no one can really take his power, and he's just going to eventually land, and it doesn't matter if he's losing rounds. That's not going to make any difference to him. He's eventually going to land it, and that was kind of my prediction going into it, that yeah, I said, his strategy is going to be, he's going to get outboxed, but he's gonna land that right hand at some point in a fight. But that is the total opposite of what happened, and it was the right hand of Joseph Parker, the overhand right of Joseph Parker, that really done most of the damage in this fight. And it was what you would say sort of embarrassingly one-sided, and that's one thing I didn't really see with this fight, that I said, okay, yeah, Parker's got a shot, but I didn't see it being sort of a one-sided beating that it was. And from the off, Joseph Parker was, he was sort of standing just outside of range, but he was stepping in, throwing a jab, and outlanding Deontay Wilder in the first round. Deontay Wilder was he came out sort of on the balls of it, just sort of moving, dancing around the ring, sort of trying to get his bearings and stuff, and he was kind of on the back foot from the first round. Parker was sort of on the front foot, but he stayed out of range for the first couple of rounds. He did step in, land a few shots, and from early he got confidence. And as the fight grew, as the fight went on, he just sort of growing in confidence, and he would go to Deontay Wilder's body, and he wasn't throwing loads of shots, but he was doing more than enough to sort of win the fight. And Wilder was just sort of standing back, and it was kind of a bizarre performance because don't get me wrong, I've seen him get outboxed, and I've seen, things like that, but he normally looked confident. In this fight, even before the bell sort of thing, he did seem, I don't know, a little bit strange, maybe lacking a bit of confidence or something. But yeah, he just sort of fought on the back foot, and he pretty much, he threw next to nothing, Deontay Wilder. It was a very, very odd performance because we saw Parker really coming into his own, coming forward, going to Wilder's body, going to his head. We saw him hurt Deontay Wilder at certain times, and Wilder would sort of always have that right hand cocked. But to Joseph Parker's credit, even most of the time when he tried to throw it, Parker would sort of duck. And even there was a time when I thought he landed a right hand on Parker, but when you look at the replay, Parker ducked low and sort of avoided the shot. So it was a case of, Wilder, he sort of seemed to have that right hand cocked and ready, trying to throw, but he just had nothing else. And it was kind of a sad thing to see that a guy that's a former world champion just completely ran out of ideas. He just seemed completely and utterly lost. So while Parker's in there outlanding him, landing the combinations, winning the battle of the jabs, Wilder's just literally standing back doing absolutely nothing. I mean, you'd think to yourself, well, this is a bronze medalist. This is a former world champion, and okay, his best weapon is the right hand. So you'd think, if you're coaching him or whatever, you'd think they'd be saying, right, okay, you need to set this right hand up. We know you can take him out with that. So you set it up behind the jab. So throw a stiff jab, steady him, and then bang, go over with the right hand. But it was just none of that. I mean, the jab was just non-existent at a lot of the time from Deontay Wilder, and it was just complete and utter dominance by Joseph Parker. So, yeah, Parker, wins it on points. And pretty much most of the rounds took the same pattern with Parker landing combinations, landing a good overhand right. Deontay Wilder just looking lost, sort of on the back foot, unable to land the right hand, very hesitant to throw punches. I mean, the guy, it was almost like I don't want to say he came there for the paycheck, but he just didn't try. Just, I don't know. I think it could be a case of, don't get me wrong, I'm aware, like I've seen him get outboxed loads of times before, but normally he still does something. Normally he does throw a jab and he does try that right handed. He does try to land shots, but this fight, it was just like he just did next to nothing, and was expecting to somehow be rewarded for it. So yeah, it was very, very straightforward victory for Joseph Parker. It was dominant. All the meaningful shots were landed by Joseph Parker. Deontay Wilder did virtually nothing in this fight. He showed no ability to adapt, to adjust to what was going on. It was a very, very poor and bizarre performance because, okay, he was behind in a fight, but you'd expect a guy that wants to get back to the top to at least try, make an effort. And yeah, it's interesting, but nonetheless, congratulations to Joseph Parker. Deontay Wilder, he says he'll be back, but at the same time, when he was asked after the fight about, what he's going to do, he seemed to me like a guy that's sort of content and happy. And he said maybe he doesn't have the killer instinct anymore, and I think maybe he doesn't. And I reckon he's a guy that could just retire now. He's done a lot in the sport, considering how his limited abilities and stuff. So, excuse me, I think to be honest, retirement could be a good option for him. He could, because you think to yourself, look, even if he goes in there against a Joshua or any other top heavyweight, Zile, whoever you want to name, all the top guys, based on that performance, unless there's some miraculous change in his life, he's food for any other top heavyweight right now. So yeah, that's what happened. So I think for me, he could just retire on that performance and just it was a bad performance, but I don't see him being much of a threat to the guys at the top level unless there's some sort of dramatic change. But yeah, I thought fantastic performance by Joseph Parker and very poor by Deontay Wilder. I think could be a combination of things for Wilder. He has been out of the ring for, I want to say, about 18 months. And when he was in the ring that 18 months or whatever it was ago, he didn't have much action. He had about one round. So, that's not exactly going to prepare you for a fight against a world-class guy. But yeah, most people were still, in spite of that, picking Wilder. And yeah, definitely fantastic victory and a bit of a surprise victory for Joseph Parker. Onwards and upwards for him. Let me know what you thought about the fight in the comment section below. And until next time, it's MKO Pugilism over and out.